Oh, there's way down there. This is what this is what I was talking about. So the random thought I had in my head was this thing. I talked to my brother after. I was like, okay, what is this thought? It's a blue room, there was a game, and there was people running around and doing shit, right? And my brother was like, I'm pretty sure that was at Gameworks. That was a weird Gameworks thing. I don't quite remember what it was. He didn't remember what it was. But he remembered that it was probably at Gameworks. So I checked it out, I ran around the internet, and I found a thread about it. And it was talking about a motion sensor sort of device. And I was like, well, that's interesting, but it's not telling me what it is. I went to YouTube, and I found this thing. And it's called a virtual arena. And it is exactly what you're going to see these guys do. This is exactly what I remember. It was a motion sensor interface for Tekken 3. It was called Virtual Arena. And exactly what you saw those guys doing is 100% what was happening when I was over there and I was seeing that shit. As a kid, I remember seeing that big blue room and just being like, what the fuck is this big blue room? Like, what are these kids doing? They're just like flailing around in the center. And I remember looking at the game and thinking to myself, this game, there's no way this game is ever going to be released to console because it requires this motion censoring. How am I ever going to have this in my room? Like I was so young at the time. This had to be like Tekken 3 is back in 98. This must have been something released in maybe 99 or 2000. And it was very not good. It was not a realized product. It was one of those just random thoughts, I guess. Somebody just put it together and threw it out there. And it was so bizarre because you would get into this thing, right? You would get into this big blue Star Trek looking teleporter room, transporter room thing, and you would stand on these lights like those guys you saw. You just stand on the light. You always had to have a foot in that light. And then you would move your arm out. It would detect your arm as a punch and your legs as a kick. I don't quite know how it did it, but it must have been like, you know, Wii-style infrared, maybe. I mean, this is back in 2000. It's before the Wii, right? Tekken 3, I mean, that's got to be like PlayStation 2 era still? It was really... to my kid brain, this was the most amazing product. And I was thinking, how am I ever going to have this in my room? How am I going to have a giant transporter thing in my room that I could play whatever this game is on? Well, that's not what it was. It was just a motion censoring interface. That's all it was. The game was just Tekken 3. And at that point, the game had already been out. And I didn't even know. Because I was into Tekken, but not really that seriously. I don't even think I played Tekken 3. I went on to like Tekken 5 and 6. Or something like that. I fell out of the series for a while. I was just looking at it like, this is amazing tech. And it's incredible. And it's revolutionary. It really wasn't. Because you're playing Tekken 3. And all you're able to do is do a punch or a kick. So doing like hop kicks or combos or anything like that wasn't really going to happen. I don't even think you were able to do the other punch button because you get four you get 4 punch buttons in this game. 4 buttons, not 4 punch buttons. 2 punch and 2 kick. I can't work my fingers. It's very cold today. But you can only do one. You can only do 1 punch and 1 kick. So it was a horrible device that did not play Tekken 3 very well at all. It was called Virtual Arena for Gameworks, and later, just now, I read about it a little bit. There's really not that much about it. But it was something that was only in Gameworks Seattle. Maybe also in, like, Portland or something like that. It wasn't widely accessible. It was a really localized, like, attempt at making a motion sensor for a Tekken game. And Tekken 3 just happened to be one of the games that they allowed to use it for. So it was just an interface, and you could put generally whatever game on there, as long as it kind of worked for the interface, you were good to go. Tekken 3 was not good for the interface. And you just like in that video, you would see those kids flail. I would see that. I'd just sit there and watch these kids flail on this thing all day, and I'm like, is this the future? Is this what video games is all going to be about? No. It got shut down really fast. Like, it did not last long at all. I was so surprised as a kid to see that. And now that I am reading about it, it's nostalgic as fuck, but it's also like, holy shit. that was a thing. Tekken tried to be like sensor motion at one point for Tekken 3, because Tekken 3 was really popular. Like, it was really, really popular. I think maybe that was perhaps the most popular Tekken out of the series was number 3. So if they were going to try and do something like that, it would have been for that. Anyways, that was just that was a crazy-ass memory that was coming out of nowhere. And I can't believe we actually managed to find it. Like, I'm so surprised that we were able to go online and even find a video. Of course, that's like the only video I could find of this thing. I haven't found any others. And I found like one article and one forum post that was made 10 years ago talking about this device. It was just a one-shot. It was just a motion censoring platform. You stood in a light, it would register one kick and one punch, and that was it. That was it. It only lasted for a while, and then somebody posted saying that at the local Seattle Gameworks, which is where I would have seen it at, they apparently tore it down and literally threw it in the trash. Like, they had trash bins lined up along the wall, and they put parts of that weird ass huge blue interface that you saw into the trash cans.